Welcome back to the GMEAdmin Insights podcast. I'm your host, Natasha Brox, and I am truly excited to be back in this space with the GME community. Whether you're a program administrator, a program coordinator, director, DIO, faculty leadership, institutional leadership, or someone who supports the day to day operations of residency or fellowship program, I want to welcome you back to GMEAdmin Insights. This podcast was created to be a professional space for the people who kept GME moving. It was created for the people who manage timelines, support residents, work with faculty, prepare for ACGME requirements, organize onboarding, track evaluations, coordinate CCC, PEC, build schedules, support recruitment, prepare for site visits, and still find time to answer the question, did you send that reminder? If you are smiling right now, you already know this work is layered, which is why I had to come back. Besides being asked, when are you coming back? What happened to the podcast? So many questions I've been flooded with. So I said, it's time. GME administration, it's not simple. It's not just administrative work. It's operational, it's strategic, it's relational. We build relationships with people of all sectors, right? The C suite, all of our stakeholders, we build those relationships. It is, it can be compliance driven, it can be complicated. It is people centered and it requires organization, communication, leadership, emotional intelligence, and the ability to stay calm when multiple priorities are moving at the same time, which is 99% of the time, right? So, for this first episode back, I did not want to jump immediately into an ACGME requirement episode or an operational task, right? These episodes, they're coming. They're coming later, though. We will talk about accreditation, annual program environment evaluation, onboarding, resident readiness, even specifically professional development and leadership. We'll talk about that in depth. But today, I wanted to start with purpose. I wanted to reintroduce myself, reintroduce the vision of GMEAdmin Insights, and speak directly to the GME professionals who may be feeling overwhelmed, overlooked, stretched thin, or ready for the next level in their career. This episode is about returning with intention. It's about reclaiming purpose. It's about recognizing that GME administration is leadership work, not secretarial. And it's about reminding this community that your growth matters. So I wanted to restart the GME Admin Insight podcast because the work we do in GME continues to grow in its complexity, right? We know it's growing, but the complexity of how it's growing has never been like this before. The role of the program administrator has changed. Even the role of the director has changed. The expectations around accreditation, compliance, resident support, faculty engagement, onboarding require uh, onboarding and recruitment and institutional accountability continues to increase. At the same time, many GME professionals are still trying to figure out while they are doing the work. We know how that is. Many program administrators enter GME without a formal onboarding structure. They are handed the system, calendar, spreadsheet, keys, laptops, program requirements. Here's the acronyms, institutional policies, resident files, and here's all of the priorities that you have to have, that you have to complete in the middle of all of that. Then somehow they are expected to understand the full rhythm of GME almost immediately. This is not realistic. If you've been there, then you know. GME has its own language. It has its own timeline, own pressures, standards, culture. If a person is new to GME, they need more than a job description. They need structure, mentorship, training. They need the context of what it really is. They need someone to help them understand not only what to do, but why the work matters. This is part of why I want to come back to this podcast. I believe GMEAdmin Insights can be a place where we talk about the work in real time, real professional, and practical ways. I want this space to help program administrators or anyone in the GME community become stronger. I want it to help GME directors become better support for their team. I want it to help coordinators see a pathway for growth because at first we didn't have one. I want it to help leaders recognize that people behind the program needs development, not just delegation. When we strengthen the people behind the program, we strengthen the program itself. This is one of the core messages of GMEAdmin Insights. This podcast is not just about surviving GME, it's about leading in GME. There is a difference. It's about moving from reactive work to strategic work, shifting from task completion to program development, understanding the accreditation requirements, but also understanding the people, the systems, the workflow that makes these requirements sustainable. I am restarting this podcast because I believe we need more space that speaks directly to the professional growth of the GME administrators and leaders. We need conversations that says, yes, the work is demanding, but you can lead it with clarity. Yes, compliance matter, but people matter too. Yes, program administrator roles is operational, but it is also strategic. And we need conversations that help GME professionals see themselves as leaders in academic medicine. So when people outside of GME think about medical education, they may immediately think about residents, fellows, faculty, even program directors. And yes, those roles are central to the mission, but behind every successful residency or fellowship program, there is usually 100% of the time a program administrator or coordinator making sure that structure holds together. The program administrator is often the communication hub. They are the person who knows the deadlines, the documents, systems, the schedules, the policies, the patterns, where the body's buried, right? They often know what is due before everyone else realizes that it's due. We know how that is. They understand that onboarding is not just sending a checklist, making sure incoming residents are prepared, credentialed, licensed, scheduled, connected, and ready to begin training safely and successfully. They understand that recruitment is not just interviews. It's coordination, communication. Um, it is ARIS, Thalamus, or whatever system you use. Candidate experience, ranking, preparation, faculty involvement, and program branding. If you faculty, most of the times don't think about program branding. It's us. They understand that evaluations are not just forms; they are part of the CCC decision making, right? The program improvement, resident development, and faculty feedback. They understand that PEC is not just a meeting; it is part of program evaluation, action plans, quality improvement, and accreditation readiness. Understand that CCC is not just a committee. It is connected to resident progression, milestones assessment, documentation, and the integrity of training program. This is all leadership. And this is what program administrators do. This is what the GME community do. That is why we have to stop minimizing this role. The GME profession is not just the person behind the scenes. The GME professional is often the person holding the scene together. And as the field continues to evolve, we need to make and talk more openly about how to train, support, develop, and retain the people doing this work. Because when program administrators are unsupported, programs fail it. When they are not trained properly, compliance gaps will appear. When workflows are unclear, deadlines get missed. When communication breaks down, residents and faculty feel the impact. Okay, so sorry. So when GME leadership fails to invest in their administrator team, the program becomes more weak. But when program administrators are empowered, trained, and included in the program being stronger, then they understand the why behind the work. They perform with more confidence. When they have clear workflows, they become more proactive. When they receive mentorships, they grow. When they are invited into decision making, they take ownership. When they are recognized as leaders, they begin to lead. This is the shift we need in GME, and we really do. You wouldn't want a program administrator just sitting there, not leading the team. And that's what we do. We lead. So, as I return to this podcast, I'm coming back with a clear vision. GMEAdmin Insights is not just about giving tips, it's about building professional capability in the GME community. This podcast will focus on the intersection with leadership, operations, accreditation, professional development, and organizational strategy. That means we will talk about practical work, we will talk about what needs to be done, but we will also talk about how to think like a leader while doing it. For example, when we talk about onboarding, we are not only going to say, hey, created the checklist. We are going to discuss how onboarding impacts residents' readiness, program culture, compliance, communications, and the start of an academic year. When we talk about directors, we are not only going to say, hey, lead your team. We are going to discuss how directors can build trust, communication expectations, support accountability, develop staff, and create a system that reduces confusion. This is the direction admin, GME admin insights is going. It is practical, it is professional, it is strategic, but it's rooted in the reality of the work. And it is designed to help GME professionals grow from where they are to where they want to go. So as GMEAdmin Insights returns, I want you to know what to expect. This podcast will include practical conversations with the GME community. We'll go back to the interviews. We'll do a session of where are they now. We are going to do a leadership talk with leaders, not just within GME, but also outside. Every week, we will have a leadership discussion with the leaders, what they think, how they lead, what they, want from their staff. I am excited about that because I want everyone to understand different aspects of leadership. So we'll go into that. Of course, we're going to talk about onboarding, but not just for residents, but also for program administrators and new staff. That is messy. We'll talk about ACGME readiness, but in a way that helps you understand how to build systems around the requirement, right? We'll talk about leadership development for coordinators who want to become managers or managers who want to become directors, directors who want to grow into broader institutional leadership like AVP. Um, hey, I know some who wants to be COOs, right? Or even transferable skills into different aspects, maybe not even GME. So we're going to talk about workflows and strategies, including how to build trackers, calendars, templates, and standard operational procedures, right? Um, we will have a conversation that reminds you that you are not alone. Sometimes we feel that we think that we are, but we're not. We have a whole community behind us. We're not alone. We have associations that we can go to. We're not alone. Because sometimes people in GME administration feel so isolated, they are solving problems that others may have not fully seen. They are managing details that others may not fully understand, or carrying timelines that others may not even know exist, except for the GME community. What a better way to bounce things off of each other. We don't have to invent the wheel. But this podcast is here to say we see the work, we understand the work, we are going to grow through the work. If you or if I had to give this new season of GME Insights one critical message, it would be we are moving from busy, especially busy work, to strategic. That is the shift. Busy means we are constantly reacting. And that's what we do. We constantly try to put out fires. Strategic means we are planning, prioritizing, and building systems. Busy means we are answering the same question repeatedly. We are always trying to catch up. Everything feels urgent. One person holds it all the knowledge. Strategic means we are creating resources that answers those questions before they become barriers. Understanding that annual GME cycle and we are preparing ahead. Strategic means we know what truly matters and what can wait. Strategic means the program has shared processes that supports the community. Busy means burnout, and burnout is normal. But strategic means we examine the workload, improve the workflow, and protect the people doing the work. This is where I want us to go. I want GMEAdmin Insights to grow, to help us become more strategic, not perfect, not overwhelmed by unrealistic expectations, but more intentional, more prepared, confident, connected, and more aware of our values, and more committed to building strong programs through strong people. So, before we close out today's episode, I want to leave you with a few practical takeaways. First, take time this week to reflect on your role. Ask yourself, am I operating only from urgency, or am I building systems that support a long term success? Identify one workflow that needs improvement. It may be onboarding, it may be evaluations or meeting preparation, or it may be resident communication. Choose one area and ask what would make this process clearer, easier, and more sustainable. If you are a program administrator or coordinator, identify one professional development goal. Maybe you want to be better, you want to better understand ACGME requirements or improve your communication skills. Or maybe you want to learn more about CCC and PEC or the eight. Do not wait for someone else to define your growth. Start naming it. And then fourth, if you are a GME director or leader, schedule time to ask your team what support they need. This is essential. Not in passing. Don't do this in passing or a quick question in the hallway, but create an intentional space. Ask what is working, what is unclear, what feels heavy, what tools would help them succeed. And remember that program strength starts with people. You can have policies, checklists, calendar, and systems, but if the people are unsupported, the program will feel strained. Strong people build strong programs. We have to remember that. So, as I close this first episode back, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being part of GME Admin Insights community, for the work that you do in GME, for showing up for your residents, faculty, programs, your institution, and your team. I know the work can be demanding. It can deadlines feel constant, expectations can feel heavy. And I know there are days when you may wonder if people truly understand how much you do. But I want you to remember that your work has meaning. Every schedule you build supports leaders learning. Every onboarding process you improve supports resident readiness. Every evaluation you track supports competency development. Every meeting you organize supports program improvement. Every step you take to grow professionally strengthens not only your program and the people you serve, but it strengthens you. And that's what matters. GME Admin Insights is back. And this season, we are going to talk about the real work in GME administration. We're going to talk about leadership, operation, compliance, and about our wellness, our growth, our career growth, our professional development. Most importantly, we are going to keep reminding the community that the people behind the program matters. We matter. So as I move through this week, I want you to remember this. You are not just managing tasks. You are helping build the foundation of medical education. You are not just supporting the program. You are helping shape the environment where physicians are trained. You are not just behind the scenes, you are part of the structure that allows the program to move forward. Learn, lean in with knowledge, deliver with purpose, evaluate through insights. And welcome back to GME Admin Insight Podcast. I am so glad we are here again. In closing, if this episode encourages you, share it with someone else, share it with another GME professional, right? A leader who may need a reminder that their work matters. And as we move into next week, I want you to think about the questions I asked you before, but also what is one area of GME work that needs more structure, more clarity, more strategy. That is where growth begins, right? So until next time, keep leading, keep growing, keep learning, keep building stronger GME programs because your growth matters. Until next time, community.